This video is just going to give you an overview of Inventory Planner generally, but I'll give you a good overview and then we'll dive into some of the functionality and have a look at Inventory Planner.
Wish you had an easy way to know exactly how much inventory to buy? Maybe you've been looking into inventory management systems. The trouble is, if your main issues are constantly running out of stock, knowing how much to buy for each warehouse, wanting to know how much inventory is overstocked, or a lack of visibility, an IMS is not the right solution for you. But Inventory Planner is. Inventory Planner is a market-leading inventory forecasting and planning solution for e-commerce and multi-channel merchants. It reveals which inventory to order, how much to order, and the perfect moment to order it based on accurate calculation of how much you will sell. It helps you sail through market fluctuations and maximize profit by eliminating out-of-stock events and releasing cash from slow-moving items, which you can reinvest in growth. Here's a sneak peek into how it works. Reliable sales forecasting. To make the right purchasing decisions, you need to know how much you'll sell. Here's where Inventory Planner shines. Our reliable sales forecasting is the best around. We've got over a decade dedicated experience in this field, and we've helped more than 2,300 merchants like you accurately predict sales. You can select from a range of sales forecasting methods that work both for non-seasonal and seasonal products. All the settings are customizable. You can set them at the warehouse or variant or product category level if they trend differently. The list goes on. We've fine-tuned our forecasting models to cope with a wide range of market fluctuations and always deliver ultimate accuracy. For instance, we factor in holiday seasons and adjust sales forecasts. It's all about creating super accurate sales forecasts that you can rely on no matter what. Replenishment recommendations. Once you've set your forecasting methods in Inventory Planner, check out our most powerful feature, replenishment recommendations. This is where you'll find out exactly what, when, and how much to reorder. We know you want to make data-driven decisions, but interpreting the data can be overwhelming. That's why we do all the complex inventory planning work for you and translate it into simple, intuitive recommendations. Metrics like forecast lost revenue, forecast lost profit, and replenishment date will help you to easily prioritize the items that need to be reordered to avoid losing revenue and to maximize profit. You'll love the overstock feature too. Use it to see all products that you have too much of in one place. Then choose metrics like overstocked units, last sold date, or overstock cost to prioritize the items that need to be liquidated first to release cash and reduce storage costs. Inventory reports. At Inventory Planner, details matter. That's why we make it easy to create a huge range of powerful reports that give you full visibility into your inventory. Simply tweak the settings according to variants, bundles, assemblies, product categories, warehouse, or vendor to suit your needs. Customized tags are a really handy way we've come up with that helps you report on anything and everything inventory related. Choose from more than 200 metrics to focus on the KPIs that matter to your business most. Your reports can be as granular or as general as you like. It's even easy to compare different periods in time to easily spot trends. In this video, we've only just scraped the surface of what Inventory Planner can do. To find out exactly how it would work for your business, book a dedicated demo now. Or if you prefer to explore Inventory Planner yourself, sign up for our 14-day free trial.
Okay, so that was just a brief overview. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to have a look at the solution itself. So we're just going to dive in. I'm going to show you a couple of the screens that are quite well received and just explain a little bit more about how the solution works. So Inventory Planner, as you can see by Sage, is a product that's been acquired by Sage in the last kind of 12 to 18 months and came along with a retail acquisition they made of a system called Brightpearl. This was a function that was available as part of that retail solution that's then been split out and works as a solution agnostic feature now. So it doesn't matter whether you're using a Sage product, a different accounting or ERP product, it can all be linked into Inventory Planner to manage all of your inventory. So it's cloud-based, so it's cloud native. So we go to the website and simply log in and then enter our email address. And then depending on our various permissions, that will drop us into our overview. Now, you'll see from my look here, this overview has given me various bits of information. We're going to dive into those in just a second. But before then, we're just going to jump into the settings. Usually you don't go into settings in demos, but it's quite a good area to see how the system's being built up. So in my system, I've got a load of demo data coming from various sources, but not just Sage, as you can see here, actually. I've got data coming in from a Shopify US site, a Shopify UK site. So taking that sales data directly from that platform, maybe some Amazon figures in there. A lot of people are doing FBA based fulfillment these days and seller fulfilled. So we can pull in all those different stock levels, whether those are held in separate warehouses in the ERP or held in the various e-commerce sites. From here, we can then combine them together. So I've got a combined all, as you can see, that's combining all those locations together because I want to report on everything as a whole, but I can still split them down. But you can also regionalize those or break them down. So if you've got operations in other countries, you might have, two fulfillment centers in the US. You might want to group those two together to keep a track of those two combined stock levels and have the UK separate, for example. In here, we can also set up things like our company. So I came up with this name yesterday. The demo data in here is all fashion and clothing. So I went for So What. And then we can also configure things like how our forecasting is happening. So are we going to keep a track of forecast history, recent sales and trends? There's always these help and video guides as we go through as well, and a whole load of defaults. We've got some purchase order info. So, what's our template going to look like? Are we going to connect some of our other systems in? And then effectively, we've also then got our API and user setup. Now, the API is key because there isn't a dedicated integration to any product as standard because of the nature of the solution. We can link integrations into Inventory Planner and back out, but also we can integrate with Inventory Planner through exports and imports. So all of the data that can be used to drive the system can simply be populated from CSV files as well, meaning that it's not reliant on a specific ERP or e-commerce site. So if we drive back to this overview, it's probably one of the most powerful screens in the entire solution because it's going to give you a snapshot of what's going on with your stock. So from looking at this, we can see that we're looking at that combined all location of all of my figures. My company is a base UK company, so we can see all of the figures are in pounds sterling. If I was sort of wanting to look at them in US dollars, I could do that as well. Equally, if I break down into the individual warehouses, I then get the local currency for that warehouse there. So we can see that across all of our stock, we stock 102 variants of stock. 101 of those are in stock. How many total units we've got, the cost of the stock that we're holding, the stock retail values, and then how that's broken down as well. We can see our active purchase orders, overdue purchase orders, units on order, and then again the cost and retail units of those as well, and we can click in to see the purchase orders if we want. We can see top variants to replenish. This is really powerful data because you can build in minimum order quantities, minimum stocking levels. That's always going to tell you when your stock has dropped below a certain level. But what this is going to do is this is going to say, okay, well, based on our forecast, we've got 31 in stock. Based on a whole load of metrics that we'll dive into in a minute, it's saying that we should purchase 1,773 units. That will cost us £13,000, but the retail value of that will be 88 grand. And so off the back of that, we can start to make informed decisions on what we do want to stock, what we don't want to stock. Maybe we want to stock more of a higher margin product, but equally we don't want to stock too much of a slow moving product as well. We can see that overall then sort of what it's telling us to replenish, the cost in total of that replenishment, and what the retail of that replenishment would be. We can see forecast sales and forecast revenue off the back of that. And then we've got our overstock section. So we're overstocking 12 variants, how many we've got overstocked, the top overstocked based on kind of slow moving stock, sales trends, sales history. We might then look at this and decide to make a decision where, we've currently got 5,500 units of a pineapple long dress in purple. And kind of we've got 27 grand's worth of stocks out there that at retail would be 250 grand's worth of retail, but we might decide, we've got a whole load of stock holding here. We want to do some discounts on this. We could go away. This might trigger us to go onto our e-commerce site, put some offers in place to try and shift some of this stock. Again, a lot of that is quite reactive. At the minute, thinking, oh, well, it looks like it's been on the shelves for a little while, so we'll do something to shift it. Whereas this is giving you that information based on all of the data that's coming from all those locations. Equally, we've got bestsellers and sales figures on there as well, which we can break out and kind of have a look at over a year's period, a month's period, whatever we want in there. All this reporting is then driven by these other categories. So we're just going to have a quick look through some of these. So replenishment is probably the kind of key area that people are using in Inventory Planner, because the whole purpose of this is to, yes, forecast what's going on with stock, but to make sure we've got enough stock cover to ensure we can make those sales. So this table is showing us things like the lead time on products that's come from the supplier or the default. It's showing us if there's any kind of sellouts on there. So we're going to sell out sort of pretty quickly on some of these. We can see how many days of stock we want to hold on this, the replenishment recommendation, the stock currently available, any that are on sort of purchase order already, any that have been transferred in now, and then again, sort of profit and retail value. We can break these down further. So we're currently looking at variance on this. We could group together, we could split out, we can look at this in loads of different views. So we might want to look at this from a supplier perspective. And that's then showing us that we have 2 suppliers and sort of what the total replenishment value from those suppliers are, the total retail value from those suppliers. Maybe we want to look at products as a whole. So we've been looking at variance previously, and there's a differential between variance and products that things like Sage 200 don't necessarily split down to or group at that level. So, we have in the clothing industry a product being our pineapple long dress that we've mentioned there, but there's 41 different variants of that. And that could be that's sizes, that's colors, various other things on here. And we can group those together as products and variants then. And we can start to analyze our individual products and the various sub-SKUs of that. We can then see sort of there's different replenishment suggestions based on those different sizes, based on different stock outs. It's pre-filtered this list by that product because I've selected that. So we could remove that filter and again look at the entire list. We can apply any filters on any of these lists as well. So that could be based on product, by category. In the video it mentioned tags. You can have custom tags in there. All sort of help in trying to sort of drill down and identify the products that need to be replenished and things like that in here. We can also change our time period that we're looking at. So, go back however many years worth of data, current months and things like that. From here, we don't have to just look at this data and then go and do something in the ERP system. We can actually action from within here. So if we were to go in and want to actually raise a purchase for some of these items, we can select a whole load of products and we can create a new purchase order for those as well. We can go through, we can kind of set them as a non-replenishable item, export them to Excel, do whatever we want to do within here. And then that will drop into our stock orders. So this with an integration would then raise the relevant PO in the relevant ERP system. So we wouldn't expect you to be double entering, but you would do a lot of your PO creation within the inventory planner screen. That's then going to allow us to update when it's been shipped, track expected dates, and see all that PO information within the inventory planner system. The other thing that's useful within the replenishment screen, and again, this being the main screen that people will use, is the ability to actually drill in and get more information on these recommendations. So we can see very quickly what the historical trends were of these products. We can see what the forecast trend of these products are. We can amend those forecasting settings for this particular item. We can see any on orders on there, so any POs that are available, we'd be able to see those too. So I think, for example, I might have some for the I thought I had some for the mango pineapple long dress, but you'd see those in there and again be able to drill into that. Any vendor attributes, so the cost price, any landed cost price, minimum order quantities, things like that. We can populate them all in here along with individual warehouse stock on that breakdown. But they can also be part of bundles, which is a big thing in e-commerce these days, that products fit into bundles. And configurable items as well are always things. So we can build in whether or not these products have been sold individually or part of bundles. And we might highlight that a product is solely selling as a bundle rather than a single variant. And that might, again, influence the way that we market that item going forward. We can then go into our forecast screen. So this is based on sales, and it's not based on kind of what we're going to do, it's what we want to do as well. So we put in a standard forecasting method across the system. What that's going to do is that's going to look at historic sales, and then it's going to forecast forward on the forward months as to kind of based on that forecast what number of units and value we want to sell. But we can influence and change these figures as well. So a popular feature is this increase percentage. So we may say that we actually want to increase 5% above forecast for this month. We can do that. We can save this forecast, and then that's going to recalculate the total number of figures and revenue forecast that will come from that item as well. And then that's going to drive our replenishment to ensure that we can try and meet that forecast. Again, always able to drill in and see that information on the historic sales trends, forecasted stock levels as well. And as you can see on this one, as we add the forecast in, if we're not meeting that replenishment, it's going to give us a lost revenue figure then. The longer and longer that we don't get this stock in after it's gone stock out, the more and more forecasted or potential revenue that we're losing at that point. The catalog allows us to integrate all of our suppliers, all of our variants, all of our forecast settings, all of our warehouses, bundles, all those things. Obviously, some of the, like with an e-commerce site, some of that information can be pulled straight from the ERP or stock system. Other information might come from e-commerce. Other information might be manually entered into here, like a concept of bundles. As we said before, that's not something necessarily that a standard ERP or inventory management system would have, but we can configure that additional information within Inventory Planner so that will then be taken into account on all that forecasting. And you'll never be told to order a bundle. A bundle is like a kit of items. So if an item features as a bundle and a replenishment action is taken off the back of that, it will still order the individual items and ensure that you can kind of fulfill that bundle. We've looked at stock orders. So if we just have a look at overstock, so this is going to look at all of our stock items and suggest which items are overstocked. So we saw that on our dashboard. We can see how many units we've got overstocked by. We can see what the retail prices is, the forecast stock, and then we can go through and sort of start to decide again whether or not we want to actually discount any products and sort of get rid of any stock that we've got. The concept of open to buy is kind of like the forecast, but the other way around. So this is like purchase budgeting. So this again is going to look at our planned revenue, our forecasted revenue. It's then going to look at what cover we've got in terms of stock holding, our opening and closing stock values, and then sort of we can influence margins and things like that. And that's going to kind of give us a total figure and allow us to build a purchasing plan. This is really, really useful for seasonal based businesses because we can plan to get enough stock to sell during peak business, but with a plan to not have any or have as little as possible left over when that trend drops down in a quiet season, which again is usually lots of manual spreadsheets, lots of fingers in the air. This just makes that a whole lot easier because you can start to build different plans and variations. So you can go through and you can create sort of next year plans, forward year plans, and affect these figures to give different scenarios in terms of purchase planning. The reports then kind of bring all that together. So we can do things like putting KPIs in place where we might want to see things like our total percentage revenue. So if we just go for the last 365 days, we can see kind of sales percentages, revenue percentages, cost of goods sold figures in here, margin, profit percentages in here as well. We can export all this to Excel. We can just email a copy of this with the figures to somebody from within here. So we could just go in, pick a user in the system and email a copy of this report out to them. And then we can do that with all of them, so we can see year-on-year stock commitments. I'm not going to go into all of them. Obviously, we can have a deeper dive to go into individual requirements if anybody wants to look at this further. But another sort of common request from systems these days, especially because a lot of people have kind of got stock holdings from COVID and things like that, is aging analysis. So being able to actually report on aged stock is something that a lot of systems don't do as standard, but because we're getting that purchase history in from the ERP system and the goods received history, and then we've got the sales figures going out to the e-commerce or through the ERP, we can start to give age stock analysis. So what's our total number of units between a certain number of certain period, what's the value of that stock from both a cost and a retail perspective, but then again the ability to split this and sort of look at that from a product perspective or even go down to that individual variant SKU perspective as well to get a true idea of kind of what stock we're holding. Maybe we want to kind of add some filters onto that. We could go through and sort of look at on order quantities or replenishment quantities or inventory quantities, whatever we want to filter this by, we can kind of go through and sort of categorize all of that within our filters. So that's just kind of a quick overview. It's not the hour we booked in, but it's a pretty sort of straightforward solution that adds immediate benefits. Hopefully it gives you a good flavor for what the system's all about. I don't know if we've had any questions come through. I don't think we have, but if anybody's got any, then feel free to pop them into the Q&A. I can jump into anything if anybody wants to see anything further. But if not, then feel free to disappear and have a good day. And if you want any more information, then just reach out to your account manager. I'll hang around for another sort of five minutes if anybody's got anything that they want to type in or pop in the chat or the Q&A as well. Just got a Q&A from Sarah. I'll reply in the comments as well, just so it takes a copy. But yeah, absolutely, we can integrate it into any system. So we can integrate it into Sage 200. And then the only thing that would change with container management would be the expected date on the container. So again, we can pass that back because the PO dates would be updated as well. So. Oh, there's loads coming through actually. Okay, this will work with both. Will it be able to recognize 2 warehouses from Sage from Heather? Yeah, absolutely. This will recognize as many warehouses as you want from Sage and other systems as well. So if you've got any consignment stock or third-party held stock as well, we can pull all that information in. Okay. Great solution for retail. We manufacture building supplies and need to be able to track our production through the warehouse. Sales and inventory planner sounds good, but ultimately I think we need an inventory management solution. Yeah, so obviously things like MRP in the manufacturing world will plan for purchase based on production. That's going to give you a better sort of outcome from a component stock perspective. There is a concept of assemblies in inventory planner. I didn't really dive into it, but you can push bombs into that and they can be multi-level, but it's ultimately not what it's designed to do. So something like MRP that's going to integrate into works orders is probably going to give a sort of a better solution. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So with Sage, various flavors of Sage, of course, but Sage 200, the kind of go-to that we would go down now is the Cycon manufacturing route, which the full suite comes with MRP, but equally it's available as a standalone solution. I will tell you what I'll do with this one. I will just drop you a link onto the response for this one, and then again, sort of reach out to your account manager. Just any other questions? If not, then I think we can pretty much wrap up. As I say, reach out to your account manager, drop us an email if you've got any questions, and we can do some individual demos or sort of deeper dive into any requirements. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.